A harsh, hoarse laugh suddenly cut off our previously cheerful conversation, and we listened tensely, holding our breath, to the deep silence of the night forest, which was broken only by the occasional crackling of the campfire. "Did you hear that?" Christina asked tensely, her voice barely above a whisper as she peered fearfully into the darkness behind us. "Yeah, someone's just messing around, trying to scare us or something." I just brushed it off calmly. Who would bother coming all the way out here just to scare us? Maybe it's the forest ranger. My friend Daniel was tense too, and honestly, that amused me. Ha! But if it is the ranger, we might get in trouble for making a fire where we're not supposed to. I don't think my laugh reassured them, though in my opinion, the joke wasn't that bad. "Alright, you scaredy cats, I'll go take a look and see what's out there." "Maybe you shouldn't," Zhenya said tensely. "You never know who might be out there." I just grunted in response, took the flashlight off the branch of the huge tree under whose shade we had set up camp, and headed into the darkness of the night forest, leaving my 3 friends by the fire, watching me tensely as I walked away. The spot where we had set up our camp was quite far from the road and any settlements. We had deliberately spent a lot of time searching for it so we could fully immerse ourselves in the atmosphere of the wild. As a result, the undergrowth here was pretty dense. And who the hell would want to come all the way out here after us? Making my way deeper with the flashlight, I carefully tried to catch the nighttime prankster in the beam, hoping I could explain to him the rules of good behavior in the forest. However, at first glance, we seem to be alone here. "Well, where are you, clown?" When I heard a faint rustle behind me, I spun around sharply, and the narrow beam of my flashlight gradually revealed the deeply wrinkled face of an old man who was hanging upside down and staring intently at me with pale, unblinking eyes. His mouth slowly began to spread into a grin. It might have even looked funny, almost amusing, if his mouth hadn't been full of sharp, dangerous teeth. He kept staring at me with a fixed, unsettling gaze, his eyes wide and unblinking until his grin stretched almost from ear to ear, exposing even more of those jagged teeth. As soon as his mouth took up most of his face, twisting his features into something disturbing, the old man began to giggle nastily, a rough, unpleasant sound, occasionally snapping his teeth together with a sharp click. My nerves aren't exactly made of steel after all, and when I tried to punch him squarely in the face, he deftly dodged me, then let go of the branch, and after jumping down to the ground, quickly disappeared into the nearest bushes. I pushed through after him, but didn't see anyone. The bushes were untouched and even the grass around them wasn't trampled. But I saw him make his way to the bush. This is some kind of devilry. Wiping the sweat from my face, I decided not to tell my friends what I'd seen, but to get everyone out of here in the morning. However, a new and unexpected surprise awaited me. Our camp was completely gone. I'm an experienced hiker and can navigate the terrain quite well. But where we had set up camp, there was nothing but a dense tangle of fallen trees. Assuming I had simply lost my bearings, I stopped and listened carefully. The place where I first met the stranger should have been very close to our campsite, so it really shouldn't have been hard to hear the sounds of the camp. But there were absolutely no sounds at all. Only the noise of the dark night forest surrounded me, and I was completely alone in the middle of it all, with just a small electric torch in my hand. Not the best prospect. "Hey, guys, where are you?" Instead of an answer, there was only a quiet, raspy chuckle. That creep again. "Hey, old man, come out." Annoyed that I'd gotten lost just a few steps from my own camp, I was glad for any chance to take it out on someone. "We need to talk." The beam of my flashlight landed on the short figure of the old man, who was coming out of the bushes, smeared with something dark and dragging something behind him. When he got closer, I could see with growing horror that he was dragging my friend's lifeless body by the hair, and he was absolutely smeared with blood. Apparently, it was his own blood.
Talk?
The stranger's deep hoarse bass voice sounded loud enough, and it seemed as if the forest itself froze, listening to him.
I really like to talk. In fact, I actually love to talk.
Letting go of my friend's hair, the old man got down on all fours and quickly crawled toward me, growling hoarsely. Screaming, I tried to run away, but I didn't get far. A couple of minutes later, a cold hand grabbed my throat and my body slammed into a large tree. The flashlight slipped from my hands, but the moonlight was enough to see the face of this creature. An ancient, old, gaunt, blood-smeared face, which, slowly opening its gaping maw, drooled as it sniffed me.
Are you talking?
The creature rasped, squeezing my neck tightly.
I want to talk.
I just thrashed in that iron grip, feeling my lungs start to burn and panic take over my mind. At the last moment, the creature loosened its grip and let me go, and I collapsed to the ground like a sack, greedily gulping in air. I tried to make sense of the overwhelming madness of the situation I was in. Meanwhile, the old man leaned over me and, with a nasty, lingering grin, watched intently for a while as I tried to catch my breath and recover.
Are you talking to me right now?
Placing his strong hand on my head, he firmly grabbed my hair and slowly dragged me through the dense thick of the forest.
You must speak. Please, you really must speak up right now. Please, I beg you.
Let me go, you bastard! My attempts to loosen his grip were futile. The old man held me tightly. I simply clung to his hand, holding on as tightly as I could so he wouldn't tear out my hair. What do you want from me?
I want to talk. With me for a moment.
Well then, let's talk. Just let me go. For a moment, the old man froze, thinking about something, then effortlessly lifted me up and, looking at me with his pale eyes, bared his teeth again in a disgusting grin from ear to ear. Then, bursting into a croaking laugh, he let go of my hair. Falling to the ground, I once again found myself completely alone. The mad old man had vanished without a trace. Getting to my feet, I trudged toward where I thought the camp was, still hoping to find my group and finally put an end to this nightmare. But I didn't get far. Just a few meters ahead, something crashed down right at my feet, snapping branches as it fell. By her clothes, I barely recognized my friend Zhenya. It was almost impossible to recognize her, as her body had been twisted by some unknown force, as if a huge beast had dragged her around and smashed her against everything in its path. The most horrifying part was that I had a suspicion about who or what had caused her death.
She absolutely didn't want to talk. Not even a little bit. Not at all.
The old man's hoarse voice seemed to echo out from everywhere. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't make out his silhouette in the moonlight, and the flashlight was left where he had grabbed me. Picking up a sturdier stick, I stood with my back to a tree, determined to sell my life as dearly as possible, even though I understood that I had almost no chance of withstanding his strength. After a couple of minutes, I noticed something on all fours darting from bush to bush with jerky movements. Without a doubt, it was that very creature. I carefully watched as its silhouette darted here and there, rustling as it circled around me. But suddenly it appeared right in front of me and with a single blow knocked me to the ground. Resisting really was useless. The old man possessed monstrous strength, but running away. As I took off, all I could hear behind me was the mocking, hoarse laughter of that freak. Pushing aside the tangled branches, I ran farther and farther, until suddenly I saw Christina standing in my path. She stood completely motionless, staring straight at me with her eyes wide open from fear. "My God, Christina, are you all right? Let's run." Grabbing her hand, I tried to pull her with me, but my acquaintance didn't move an inch. When I let go of the girl's hand, it hung limply, but Christina herself kept standing, staring ahead in terror. Looking at her more closely, I nearly screamed in absolute paralyzing horror. My friend's body had been pinned to a thick, sturdy tree, which was the only thing keeping her from falling. My legs suddenly gave way beneath me, and in utter despair I began pounding the ground with trembling hands, feeling a deep, suffocating hopelessness overwhelm my mind. There was simply no way out. I didn't immediately recognize the huge tree to which my friend was nailed. This was the site of our camp, the very place I had been so eager to reach. All my friends had been killed by this creature, and I was next. No matter how much I tried to run from this creature, it was in complete control of the situation. I could hear its footsteps, hear its ragged breathing. At that point, I didn't care anymore. I just wanted it to be over quickly. It came up to me and, leaning over, placed its icy hand on my head.
Speaks.
His hoarse, raspy voice echoed loudly, seeming to drown out all the other subtle sounds of the dark, quiet night forest around them.
You must speak.
Do whatever you want, I don't care. Suddenly, the old man grabbed me by the collar and, dragging me a few steps, slammed me hard against the nearest tree. "You must speak!" he screamed furiously in a fit of rage, continuing to violently bash me again and again against the rough tree. "You must!" After another blow, I simply lost consciousness, and the last thing I saw was the old man's face twisted with horrifying malice, smeared with the fresh gleaming blood of my friends, and his bared, pointed teeth grinning at me. When I came to, it was still night, which meant I hadn't been unconscious for very long. But why hadn't that creature killed me the same way it killed my friends? Getting to my feet, I was surprised to realize that I could hear the voices of the guys and the crackling of the campfire. Looking around, I realized that I was on the edge of the forest, very close to the camp. What the hell? Still not understanding what had happened, I returned to the camp and was met with the puzzled looks of my friends. "So what did you find?" Christina asked tensely. "Is there anyone or anything out there?" Looking at the flashlight in my hand and at the campfire, which was in the same state as when I left, I realized that no more than 5 minutes had passed since I had smugly gone to check out the source of the noise. Ignoring their questions, I sat down by the tent and stared at the campfire's flames, which warmed my mind much more than my body. My friends, occasionally casting anxious glances at me, whispered among themselves, discussing me and trying to figure out whether I was messing with them or not. I didn't care what they were talking about. I just wanted to understand what had happened, but alas, to be honest, there were simply no real answers to be found.
You must speak.
A hoarse whisper behind my back made me jump, but when I turned around, I saw no one. Only a vile, quiet laugh faded away somewhere into the depths of the night forest.